The School of Spiritual Evolution presents Soul's Messages as revealed through the metaphor of everyday life. This is Belinda Womack. I'm honored to have been a messenger and teacher for the 12 Archangels for over 30 years. Likely, the most essential thing that I have ever learned from the angels is how to recognize the messages coming through from Spirit that appear in the events of daily life. Our souls, angels, and our helpers in heaven communicate to us through the symbolic language of metaphor. I'm going to give you an example. My husband Michael walked into the garage after he heard a very loud crash. When he looked to the left, his rack of tools, and it took him quite a while to get this rack up on the wall of the garage and put all of his favorite tools up there, so neat and tidy. That's how Michael does everything. If it had been Belinda, it would have been, well, we'll just say a bit messy. Michael does everything very neatly. But all of those tools and the rack had completely fallen down and crashed to the floor. He came in and he said, "You won't believe what happened." And he was laughing. He said, my whole tool rack fell down. That was the big crash we heard, and all of my tools were everywhere. I want to tell you the metaphor because when I explained it to Michael, he really appreciated. The aha lights went off in his beautiful brain, and he was very grateful to have the understanding of why would this happen, because it seemed like it was going to be a lot of work. Tools are symbolic also for spiritual tools, gifts that we have, the way our brain works, our logical brain, our intuitive brain. We have so many tools that we can use. Also, valuing the tools, meaning the knowledge that we have. What have we learned? What are the tools right in our tool chest? That means also what we have mastered. The left side of the garage is the feminine. The feminine is always the left side. When I explained to Michael, he needs to use the tools of his intuition. He needs to really listen to his intuition. His intuition is trying to crash through. That was the big loud noise. And he said, my intuition has been giving me the solution to a problem, a very logical, analytical problem that he was working on. And he just loved it because it all made sense. Is he going to need to put the rack? Now, what does the rack mean? Back up on the garage wall? Well, a rack on the wall can mean that you feel like you're on the rack. Very stressed. Go back to the Middle Ages when we were put on the rack, perhaps for speaking up for the truth or not speaking up for the truth. The rack was a vehicle of torture. So when we put ourselves on the rack, it can feel like we're stressed, we're overwhelmed. What's going on? And that's where Michael was. Even his name means the highest will, after Archangel Michael. So he needed to tap in to his feminine will, to his clear, intuitive knowing. Use a different set of tools to solve the problem, which was going to take him off the rack of stress. Isn't that amazing? What our souls want to teach us through just these normal events that most of the time we take for granted until we start to wake up. If you would like to learn how to understand the metaphor happening in your daily life so that you understand Soul's message for you, please visit the School of Spiritual Evolution. Every class taught by the 12 Archangels contains meaningful metaphor that helps our brains to wake up and connect the dots. The SSE even offers a course bundle focused entirely on teaching you the amazing symbolic language of metaphor.